Hello, Yeshua Network. Nathan Wheeler here, founder of the page. I wanted to make a quick video. It's probably not going to be that fast, but I do hope that you will watch it. If you ever watch any content, whether you leave a comment, whether you even give a like or anything like that, I hope that you will watch this video. I think it's really important. I also think that it's going to do a lot of healing for the body of Christ here at Yeshua Network. Also, if you would be so kind, if you know that a brother or sister may not have watched it, will you copy this link of this video and share it with them if they are especially participants or people who participate on a regular basis here at Yeshua Network. I have been hearing from multiple sources that there are people who are quite unhappy with me, who are part of the body of Christ here that are regular. So if you're somebody who is not somebody I ever talk to, or you never leave a comment or anything like that, and you're upset with me, well, I have no idea about that. But the people, there's a group of people who are quite active here, and they are, I guess, a handful of them or more, maybe much more, are quite upset with me in so that they do not really understand why things have been the way they have for the last few years. And also because of the way that, for instance, the website has had issues and things like that. And people are like, this doesn't make sense. What is happening here? Why is he even doing this website? Why doesn't he just finish the Truth Me Free series and things like that? I want to acknowledge first and foremost that when I lost my business, and I know many of you heard this before, but I want to clear up basically and tell you some truths that you have not heard yet. When I lost my business, it devastated me and it crushed me to a degree I will never be able to explain. I know you know that, but roll with me. Many of you have said that the best videos you have seen outside of my Truth Me Free series are the videos I made when my business was going strong and doing very well. And that was when I was doing like Fiery Fridays and Testimony Tuesdays and things like that. And basically ever since my business got closed, basically around COVID launch time, when COVID came to the world, I have not been that person since. And that is an absolute truth. I confess that completely. I have been a completely and utterly broken person since that happened. And a lot of you think it has to do with money or the world or things like that, but in all reality, it had to do with being able to donate continually and furthermore onto the ministry without ever really needing to need donations or anything like that, and not put myself in a position where I felt shame and regret. And also, I had worked my whole life to build what I built. And so this is as much of that story as I want to tell, because most of you know it. Also, a lot of you who have been along the trip and you watch the Truth Me Free series, which you can watch on YouTube, Truth Me Free, you know, you see that my life journey has always been full of really highs and really low lows. And that is, that kind of seems to just be the way my life goes. And I've always been able to be okay with the lows because I always believed tomorrow's going to be better. And there was something that happened after I lost my company called Blackhorn. I stopped believing tomorrow was going to be better. I became 100% persuaded tomorrow was going to be worse. And I will say that since I've lost Blackhorn, every day has been worse. I wake up each day and it's a worse day than the day before. And so some of you may be like, yeah, I noticed you changed. You stopped responding to emails. You kind of stopped being there for us. You weren't making content the way you were before. A lot of the things you said you were going to do, you stopped doing, and I apologize for that. It wasn't that I had the intent to mislead you. It wasn't that I had the intent to get you guys excited about a new part of the ministry that wasn't going to come forward. It was just that I had things that the Lord put on my heart to do, but that doesn't mean that I had the psychological, emotional stability to do it. And I really didn't have any help. That's not how this works, because of the fact of how Facebook is designed and the page got hacked, which is also a thing that changed me dramatically. I became extremely careful about who I ever got to be involved on the page. I also became very careful about the content I allowed on the page, and so on and so forth. So if you're one of the people who are upset at me, first and foremost, if you've watched to this point, which I hope you have, I hope you got to this point if you're one of those people, first and foremost, what I'd like to do is encourage you to write me why you're upset at me. Instead of gossiping about me or complaining about me or griping about me behind the scenes to other brothers and sisters, if you have an issue with me of any type, I would appreciate it if you wrote me an email. You can write me at truthmefree832@gmail.com, and you can feel free to unload on me all the things you do not like about me, all the things you perceive are bad about me or wrong, or anything I've done wrong onto you. But I'm going to tell you now, most likely, what my response will be. Not that I know, so feel free to write your emails, okay? And I do want you to write the emails, because I'd rather you talk to me about any issues you have with me rather than talk just about me to people. I'd rather have the chance to explain to you, which I should have done already, and I have not really explained a lot of things to you. So I'm going to try to, in a short period, because we do have entire Bible read through tonight, which is a go. So I started working on a website many years ago for this page, because I knew that Facebook and all social media would eventually start really suffocating us, and they started doing it pretty early on. And they have. We used to get 38 million views a month, and now we get about anywhere from 800,000 to 1.2 million views a month. Well, that's a significant drop, right? Significant. That's really bad. And I know most people would love to have that, but for us, it's really bad from where we started. And so that made me question myself and question if I had done something wrong or whatever. And it ends up being just that, Facebook doesn't like pages that speak the truth and promote God, and especially promote read the whole Bible and don't believe in religion or dogma of man-made ways, right? So that messed with my head. Many people have been saying, hey, how come you haven't done EB, or how come you haven't done Truth Me Free? I know I'm all over the place. Trust me, this will all come into a nice package at the end. I'm trusting God for that. A lot of people say, why don't you just finish Truth Me Free? And here's the thing. I know that the best times of my ministry were when people were watching Truth Me Free, because you knew exactly what you were tuning in to get. You knew exactly what was next. You got it when you got it. If it was on time, especially, you really liked it. And it was very easy to get behind my ministry because it was clear and concise. So Truth Me Free is the best part of my life and the best part of what I have to offer you. I get that. Entire Bible read through is probably the second best thing, and it's not consistent because there's so many people that make it happen. It's not just on my shoulders, and that makes anything far more complicated, and it makes it harder to keep a schedule when you have a lot of people that need to be a part of it to make it the blessing that it is. But EBRT, in a way, is also more of a blessing than my testimonial series is. The testimonial series is very yummy, beginner stage stuff. It's very easy, it's very exciting, it's fun, it's entertaining. Entire Bible read through takes some effort from us as subscribers, as viewers. We have to read, we have to study, we have to contribute and leave comments and things like that if we really want to get the most out of the experience that it is. Well, so it's not just on me, it's not just entertainment anymore, right? And so that's why it's a little bit more complicated, and it's not as smooth sailing. I acknowledge that as well. But I also don't regret how it's going. I know my internet is slow. Hopefully this is all, you guys can hear me okay. Please let me know if the sound or anything is messed up. I also know that, I had a big issue with asking for donations, and then I would ask for donations when I got into really hard places. When I needed the RV to go on tour, I asked for those donations. You guys came up with it. You helped me get the RV in the truck, and then the RV crashed, and I lost not only my home, but I also lost my livelihood again. I was not doing well with this. And I know I put on a smile, and I got on the videos, and I said, hey, everybody, praise God. He's still worthy to be praised, because he is. Whether I feel like I want to live another day or not, or whether I feel like I have any hope or there's zero light at the end of my tunnel of my life, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop praising God. And I feel that some of you think that I should be happy all the time because I do believe in God, because I do trust in God. But the apostles themselves are not happy all the time. They had struggles, they had pains, they had things that they asked God, please take this thorn from my side. So I've had them for the last 4 years every single day. I've been in a state of perpetual darkness as I have never actually shown you. And so some of you, I think, might also feel a little bit hurt by the fact that I had pain and I had darkness and I had things that I was struggling with psychologically, and yet I was still coming on and smiling and still praising God. But the thing is that I've always said that even if God's going to kill me, which he already has, but even if God's going to kill me or my life sucks, I'm still going to praise the name of God. And he told me to do this ministry. So whether I want to do it or not, whether I wake up and feel like I want to do it, I'm going to do it. On that note, though, some of you are saying, I'm not doing the ministry anymore. I don't make videos like I used to. I don't respond to emails for sure like I used to. In fact, I would say that I've probably only responded to maybe a handful of emails in the last year. Most of you have learned you can't email me anymore, at least on Facebook or Truth Me Free or Instagram or anything like that, because I'm not going to respond. A lot of that came from when my brother died, and I just quit. I had a hard time waking up every day. I had a hard time getting out of bed. I had a hard time not just literally staring at the wall and being in this really strange place where I felt like I was just waiting for God to come and be like, this is why you're going through this. Here is this visitation and some words from him, and it just made everything make sense. And there were so many times where, for instance, when I was living on the property, the farm I was living on, there was some times where I could have been a better steward of the farm. I got a little distracted by something called Symbiosis, which was this company I could have started to help out the environment and help out the trash and all these things, and it could have absolutely been real, but I did not want to do it. And so some of you were like, oh, is he going to do that? Is that now his thing? What's going on? Why is he doing this? Is this where this is all going? Is that what's happening? I didn't know myself. I had to test the spirit. I had to fleece the spirit on that. And I did. I gave it my most best effort. I know that's weird English, but that's exactly what I mean. I gave it everything I had, what little I had in me. I gave it everything I had. And I genuinely opened up to God saying, if this is your will, then show me. And it wasn't something where he showed me in one day. And I did a bunch of work, and I met with the mayor and the governor and a few senators, and I met with council members. I even went and I stood and I got voted for, and I got the city, a county in Tennessee, a few counties in Tennessee to say literally in writing that I have the right to basically turn their trash into fertilizer and stuff like that. I went through this entire process. And I know for some of you, if you were watching or you were cheering me on in those things, you were cheering me on to have success in them. And maybe I wasn't clear that I wasn't trying to get you to cheer me on to have success. I was just sharing with you what God was having me go through, and I was fleecing God. I truly wasn't saying, I wasn't waking up in the morning going, this is what I want to do. This is my new ambition. I told the mayors, I told the senators, the councilmen, I told everybody, I do not want to do this. And they were telling me, if you don't do this, none of us can. You're the only person who can do it, which is why they gave me unanimous votes to be the guy to head it all up. But at the end of the day, it clearly was clear to me that it wasn't in the cards for me. It wasn't in the cards. And if nobody else wanted to pick up the mantle, there was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't force somebody else to pick up the mantle. So I just had to let that go. And it caused me a massive amount of shame because I literally had people crying. I had people walking up to me saying, you have to do this. You're going to literally save our homes. You're going to save our farms. You have to do this. You have to help us. And so it wasn't just I woke up one day with a business idea and then I gave it up, or I gave up or I quit because I'm a quitter. It was that I was fleecing God, and I was like, is this what you want from me? And there was people who were offering money and lawyers who had money, and I didn't even reach out to them and contact them. And you're thinking to yourself, well, why not? That might have been the money. It wasn't enough money, first of all. And I needed to know that God wanted me to work in that way with those people. And I know that probably sounds crazy to some of you. Some of you would have been like, well, it's just a good plan. It's just a good thing. Just go through with it. If it's good and it helps you and it makes you a lot of money and you're happy again, and you can be the old Nate who used to do Fiery Fridays and Testimony Tuesdays, and you didn't have to take donations for the ministry anymore, then isn't that good? Isn't that right? See, this is the thing is I've learned from my mistakes that there's a lot of things that I saw that were good and could be right, but they weren't what God was calling me to do. And I'm not talking about anything you've seen on ministry. Okay, so be clear. These are things outside of ministry. That's how I know they're not of God, because they were things that I was trying to do to try to make myself comfortable while I did the calling that God called me to be. So I never had to shame myself or bring myself so low as to ask and beg for basically donations to survive. And many people, whenever I bring up, the fact that that's part of ministry is that the ministers have to say, hey, make a donation, please. And people are like, well, why don't you just get a job? But the thing is this isn't like an organization that has employees. There's a lot of people here who are willing to help, but it's very clear that I'm the guy who has to run this, and not because I have an ego, but because it's just, this is the ministry. It's really a place where the content and the environment is shaped by the work that I do, and this is my full-time job. And I fought that. I fought that with every bone in my body. And what that did was it caused me to become more depressed. And maybe you are a person who can get depressed and get beaten down and get beaten up, and you can jump up and you can go to work with a smile on your face, and you can just keep going and be fine, but you're still like inside, like totally dead. Well, I'm not that way after the things I experienced, basically losing my major company, basically losing my home, the RV that I had. And I really liked that. It was really awesome because I got to tour and meet you guys face to face, which really also gave me energy and stuff, right? And then the second thing that really took the wind out of my sail was just that everything that I had moved to Tennessee for, it just wasn't in God's plan. And then when the symbiosis thing wasn't in God's plan, it was about 4 years of me going through some hard times and losing massive losses, like not small losses, but massive losses. And there was a shame because I testify of what I go through while I go through it with you on the internet, right? I share it on the internet. And it has caused me to lose dates. It has caused me to lose other business. It has caused me to lose some of you, many of you actually through the years, not many, but enough for me to be affected by the fact that many people walked away because they're like, well, if God was with this guy, his RV wouldn't crash. If God was with this guy, he would have a home. He wouldn't be like on the verge of homeless again, right? If he wouldn't have lost his business, if God is with this guy. And there's some people who are just persuaded of that. And so they leave the ministry and they even create websites talking trash about me. Well, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. But here's the other thing. I'm a human being. And every time one of those people who used to call me brother or sister breaks off and does this whole thing where they go around and they just talk trash about me, I'd love to say it doesn't affect me, but it does. I'd love to say that it doesn't register with me at all, but it does. Does it register with me less than it did when I first started? Of course, because I know how to deal with it better, right? But I'm still that human being who still cares about my brothers and sisters having fellowship with me, right? I came to a place over the last 4 years where I was basically barely waking up every day. And so I confess that while I did do as much as I could have done more. I could have been more for you guys and for this ministry. But you saw me come into the darkest era of my life. And it's quite unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it has affected this ministry. It's unfortunate that it affected mainly my productivity, right? My ability to make videos on a regular basis, Q&As, Fiery Fridays, topical videos and things like that. I wasn't able to do it. I also got distracted by life. I stared at the wall in full-on depression for hours at a time, many days of my life, when I should have been working on the farm that I was living on and making it, cutting the grass and weeding the grass and, making sure the fish were fed and things like that. Like, making sure that the foxes weren't digging holes and all this kind of stuff and the bees weren't building nests. Like, there's so many things I could have done. And every day I woke up, I was failing everybody. I was failing my family because I was still doing ministry, and that was an embarrassment. I was failing God because I wasn't doing all the things that I knew was on my heart to accomplish because I just didn't have the energy. And I also didn't feel like I had the financial resources because I had to think about, well, I got to make sure I don't get kicked off this property because that's really how I'm living. This farm is how I'm staying alive. And so this should have my first priority. But then I'd be like, well, I got to fit in time for ministry. And then I wouldn't fit in enough time for ministry. I wouldn't fit in enough time for the property. I wouldn't fit in enough time for symbiosis. Nothing was getting accomplished to the degree that everybody had an expectation of me to do. And it's not that I could not have done it all. If I was old Nathan, Fiery Friday Nathan, I could have done it all. Because that's what I was known for. I was a guy who could get things done. But the new Nathan had a hard time breathing. The new Nathan had a hard time keeping himself living to the next day, like a really hard time. And then when my brother died, I basically totally and utterly gave up, especially after my younger brother attacked me, the whole funeral thing, all that, if you know, you know. And so basically, if you're one of the people who are frustrated with me, over the last year, you probably got the most frustrated with me, because over the last year, I completely, by a hair thin thread, held on. But I completely I gave up on all aspects of life, except for a hair thin. And you'll also notice I'm not living on the farm anymore. Do I believe that if I had been giving the farm the attention that I was giving it, I'd still be living there? I think so. I don't think I was a good steward. I don't think that I did them right. I think that they showed a massive amount of grace on me. They still call me friend today. And that's another unbelievable grace I probably don't deserve. I now live in a place that you guys are helping me. You guys keep me alive and allow me to pay my rent. And some of you have really stepped up so I could have this new life. And I feel that a lot of that came with promises I made. Promises I made to build the website. Promises I made to get back to responding to emails. Promises I made about doing more entire Bible read-throughs on a normal schedule. Promises I made about doing more Q&As. That I have tried to do. And then when I wanted to accomplish these things, I had the issues with the website. And I had issues with my mind. I had issues with my heart. I haven't even been able to see a heart doctor. And I know I've seen two times. I've seen a heart doctor 2 times, enough for them to tell me that, I have 2 years left on my pacemaker. So I have some time to try to work in all the things I need to do to check my heart, see its health, and also get my pacemaker fixed, which is cool. That's amazing news, because I should be out of batteries right about now, but I'm not. I got another 2 years. So Baruch Hashem, by the grace of God, go I. But I can't even get to the doctor, because the day I'm supposed to go to the doctor, it snows, right? To where nobody can drive on the streets. When I'm supposed to go to the doctor again and I show up and I'm ready to go, the practitioner doesn't show up to do all the stuff on me that they need to do. These are things that are outside my control. And these are things that it happens to me all the time in every way. And I know that if you're somebody who's watching, you get frustrated with it. I know that if you love me and you're a normal participant, you watch my life, you watch my testimonies, you watch me being transparent, and you also watch that I'm not accomplishing the things I promised you. And that only makes me feel worse about myself. It only makes me hate myself more. And it only makes me feel like I'm further in a hole I'm never going to crawl out of. I'm never going to be able to give you guys back what you have sown into me. I'm never going to be able to give you the totality of probably what we could have had, if I wasn't pulled in so many directions and didn't allow myself to get depressed. But if you've ever been actual depressed, right, it's not something you get to choose. I think that sometimes people who don't suffer with depression, they think that people are kind of choosing depression. There was a season where I thought that, because I used to be able to pull myself out of depression pretty quick in my younger years. But this depression I've had for the last 4 or 5 years, I've not been able to pull myself out of. And I actually had one brother from this ministry, a viewer, just like you, who's watching this now, who kind of chewed me out in a good way, called me out and said, hey, you were in a really dark place and you never told us that. You put on a smile every day and you got on and you praised the Lord and you acted like everything was great and rosy. And I want to be super clear about something. I've done this since my very first video. If you watch my very first video of me, the only video maybe that I didn't show that everything was rosy was the video I made of me in the hospital, on the hospital bed, right? But all other videos, I get on and I am happy. And I've told you guys this before, but I just want to make this super clear. In case anybody needs this video, copy and paste this, right? I want to make this super clear. When I log this camera off, when I'm done sharing this video with you today, I am not going to be okay. That's just how life is, right? I'm not okay. My life is not okay to me. The way I'm living, and the way that I'm doing ministry is not okay to me. So why do I get on and why do I rejoice in God? Why do I act like everything is good? Because everything is good when I'm doing God's work. That's why. The only time my life is right and the only time my life is good is when I am serving somebody else. When I am being a servant unto the body of Christ, when I am doing God's will, it's the only thing that I have. So why do I put on a smiley face? Why do I cry with tears of joy, excuse me? Why do I love God so much? It's because it's the only place my mouth gets right above the waterline to take a gulp of air. Other than that, I'm drowning all the time. Maybe you didn't know this. Maybe you felt duped in the sense that like, I had it so good or I'm doing so good on the other side of the camera. I feel like I've been quite transparent and told you I'm not, but maybe some of you think I am because of the smiley face, because I crack the jokes and things like that. But I'm not going to stop. Do you understand? I'm not going to stop coming on and having fun with you. I'm not going to stop praising the Lord when I come on these videos. I'm not going to stop being happy with the fact that Yeshua is my hope. I'm not going to stop all those things, right? Like I can't, because it's all the reason I'm alive. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be alive, right? So I understand very clearly that some of you are mad at me and some of you are frustrated at me because you hear me say something and I cannot, for the life of me, give you that which I am hoping to give you. I cannot produce the thing in which I'm hoping to produce for you. And some of you are saying, well then don't tell us you're going to build a website. I already built it multiple times. Well, don't tell us you're shooting 9B3. I've shot it 300 times. Finally, you guys have it. I haven't shot 9C or 9C. I haven't shot 9C1, but I've not told you I've shot 9C1. Because I'm not even going to try to shoot 9C1. I learned from 9B3. If you don't know what any of that terminology means, it's okay. It has to do with Truth Me Free. It's another ministry. But the website is something I'm working on. The website got messed up because I stopped taking my pill and I went through straight. My pill is a heart medicine, not a recreational drug. I stopped taking half of my pill and I had full-on heroin level withdrawals. I never experienced that before in my life. It caused me to make a lot of stupid mistakes. I couldn't think clearly. I also had a concussion. You guys, I'm getting, like, I've had a stream of bad luck. Like, and I don't want to call it bad luck. Do you understand what I'm saying? I want to call it challenges. And maybe you don't like that I call it challenges because it gives you hope. I want to call it challenges because I can't just believe that God's just allowing me to get pooped on all the time. I have to believe that every time I get pooped on, it has some type of reason behind it. I have to believe that every time I get pooped on and every time God tells me, hey, you're going to go through a season where you're going to lay on your side for 365 days and you're going to eat cookies made of dung. You know, you're going to enjoy these cookies and everybody's going to make fun of you and everybody's going to say there's no way God's telling you that. That doesn't make any sense. I don't hear God telling me that for you. I don't feel that that's what's supposed to be done for Yeshua Network or Truth Me Free. So clearly God's not talking to you. So clearly God's not saying this to you. I have to believe that the things I am going through is not because I am such a wretched sinner, which I am. And my sin is not only in my desires of the flesh. It's not only in my weaknesses of the mind. It's not only in the hate I have for myself or other people who I have struggles of unforgiveness with, but it's also in my depression, right? Because depression is not a spirit of faith. But the thing is if you've ever been in depression, you need God to do what he did for Peter in the water. You are sinking. You are drowning. You can't swim. And if God doesn't reach his hand down into the water for you and pull you out, you have nothing. That's what it's like to be depressed. It's not like I think today I'm going to stare at the wall and do nothing because I'm lazy. I think today I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna contemplate every bad decision I've made in my entire life and wonder if I should continue being alive because you think it's the right choice for the day. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, these are not the choices that a person makes. This is not the way that this stuff goes. So I wish I wasn't emotional because I'm not trying to pull on your heartstrings. I'm just trying to be transparent and truthful with you. And some of you who are my close friends or friends in real life are watching this video and being like, I hate it when you make videos like this. I hate it when you tell people, what's going on with you behind the curtain. And then there's some of you who are sitting there talking, unfortunate things about me because you don't know what's going on behind the curtain. I was told to tell my testimony. I was told to tell you what's going on in my life. And I don't know if you've ever let that sink in, but that is an absolutely horrific thing I do every single time I do it. Every single time I get on the internet and I tell you things like this, or I even just make a video on ministry, whether it's a blessing to you or not, I am not in a place where I'm cool. It's not making me have a Ferrari and a Lambo in my driveway and a mansion. Basically what I'm trying to say in short is that me coming on here and exposing the deepest, darkest, craziest elements of my life to the entire world, which does respond back with a lot of negative to it, right? There's a lot of positive too, but if you've ever done this kind of work, the negatives, unfortunately, they sting more than the love coats, So you feel the stings more than you feel the coating of love. It's just how this works. It's just how life works, right? The devil's, yeah, but you messed up there, is louder than God going, I love you. That's why I died on the cross, right? This is the mental battle that we fight every day in every element. My point is to say is that while I might make this look easy, it's not easy. While I might make this look fun, it's really not that fun. It's fun for me, but in general, this isn't what I would choose for my life. And some of you know that, and I'm just saying that, I'm repeating to say that, I understand and I acknowledge 100% that the last 4 years of Yeshua Network and Truth Me Free have been really bad. I understand that I have not been able to produce or to provide you the ministry you deserve. And I understand that for those of you who make donations, and I don't know what happened, but this month some of you didn't that normally do. You might be having financial issues. I don't know. I never write you guys and ask you directly really for anything, except for 1 or 2 people who said, hey, if you really need something, call on me. But other than that, I don't write people say, hey, I noticed you stopped making donations. That's not the type of ministry this is, right? If you don't want to donate, don't donate. But when I, this is where my struggle comes, right? Because it's all losing for me. If I ask you for donations and I get the donations, it's humiliating for me to ask you. And when I get the donations, I feel I owe you, right? It's no longer that I feel just led by God to do it. It's no longer that I'm operating just because God told me to. Now I'm doing it because I'm thinking about a time frame. I'm looking at my watch. I'm looking at the calendar. I looked at when you gave the donation, and I'm thinking, well, I better hurry up. I better learn. And I don't know about you, but when I'm learning how to remake websites, and I want to, it's important that I learn how to do it. I know for some of you that doesn't make any sense. Why do you have to do it? It's a big, long explanation, but I do have to do it because it needs to be set up with a certain environment, the exact same type of environment that we have here at Yeshua Network, because that's how it gets done. I do it. So, and the environment here at Yeshua Network is magical and it's powerful, and not credit onto me, but credit onto God, who I feel guides me in it. So the same thing has to be done with the website and the podcast to come and things like that. It's a lot of work. I understand. I understand because I'm the one doing it. And people are like, well, so stop saying you're going to do it at a certain time. I never know that the roadblocks and the stumbling blocks and the breaks are coming. And I feel obligated, just as I would with an employer who is hiring me, that if you're making a donation to keep this ministry going and to keep me alive and keep the roof over my head and the food in my belly, I feel obligated to not just be willy-nilly with your donations. I feel that you are owed to know what I'm doing in my time and what you're supporting and where everything is going. And some of you who have been making donations have stopped. Some of you who have been making donations are also saying things not so kind about me, or wondering not so kind thoughts about me behind the scenes and talking about it with others, because multiple people have gotten to me about it. And what I'm trying to tell you is that I am aware. I am sorry. And I wish that it wasn't so. I wish that I could just do a thing and it would be done, and I never had my heroin type, I don't do heroin, but my heroin level, withdrawals that caused me to press the stupid wrong button and attach the stupid wrong app, a website builder, and it caused the entire website to be corrupt. I'm sorry that I never got a hold of the people at the hosting company. Instead, they just automatically think they fixed something when they broke it completely. I'm sorry that I had to struggle to get my website moved over to a new host because of the way they broke it and they weren't working with me. They couldn't save it. I'm sorry I had to learn a whole new app. Again, I'm not being a martyr. I'm not trying to guilt you. I'm just trying to say I acknowledge it. I acknowledge that this ministry is not performing and acting. Thus me, I am not providing you the fruits that you deserve. And some of you may be upset with me. Some of you may be looking at other ministries. Many of you leave this ministry for years at a time, and then you come back and you all say the same thing. When anybody leaves this ministry who's a major, like they were normal participants, they always leave it. They look for a normal church who does normal things, operates on a normal level, on a normal schedule, and then they come back and they say, but you know why I came back to Yeshua Network? You know why I came back to Nathan Wheeler? Because this is the only place I get fed the real truth, the whole truth. And that is why I wake up, and that is why I do as much as I can, and that is why I'm still going, is because I believe 100% that even in my failures, God is somehow managing to continue to show grace on me, continue to show grace on this ministry. We are all still learning. We are all still having fellowship. It may not be the best. It may not be the purest in the sense that we can't talk about all the things that Facebook hates. I get that. That's why I'm working on the website and stuff like that. But like there's still a massive blessing here. And I know we all want to see it grow and we want to see it re-explode, and it's not. It's pretty much stagnant. We have our 800,000 and 1.2 million views every month, and it's pretty much, I guess, the same people watching the content, even though there's 2.6 million people here. So we should be reaching roughly around 15 million people, assuming anybody shares anything. Some of you are thinking that if everybody in this ministry donated $1, I would be making $1 million a month, right? But I'm not. That's not what's happening. It's basically like 2 handfuls of people making donations, and you are keeping me alive. You have been keeping me alive. You are paying my rent. You are paying my bills. I do have a massive amount of credit card debt because I had to move, and I did make some bad choices. I did spend money on things maybe I shouldn't have gotten. I wanted a nice computer monitor or something like that, or I wanted a nicer camera for when I start doing the EBRTs again and I host it, right? You know, these are things that I bought over the last 4 years that I could have probably spent the money wiser. I could have spent it on other things, but not really, because they're still working good today, right? Like I buy the good stuff that's at the best price. I'm a Costco guy, if anybody doesn't know. I love Costco because you get a good thing for a good price, right? So that's how I am. And so what I'm just trying to say is that I just want you to know that the man behind the camera understands he's broken. I understand that I am not performing like the good old Nathan used to in the good old days. And I understand that I am still in my dark stage, and I'm still in my dark phase, and I'm still coming out of it. Do I have more light in me today than I had a year ago when my brother died? Way more, because I had zero light in me other than the one single tiniest microscopic spider thread of the truth. It was the only thread of any type of light in my life, was that I had the truth written on my heart. And it was the only thing that got me through that moment of my life. The single microscopic thread I let stay in my heart of the truth. And today I have a lot more than that. But I also realize, like as I'm sitting here today and I'm watching video after video, learning how to use different apps to see which app will accomplish the best thing for the website. For when I build the website this time, they'll all work together, doing the same thing with our brothers and sisters. We were meeting every Sunday. We've not been meeting every Sunday because I feel overwhelmed. And I've had to kind of just back off. And then, as you guys know, last week, I just spent the entire week super depressed about my brother's death again. I relived it all over again. There was some hate in my heart I had to let go. That's why we didn't have EBRT last week. And you know what? I wasn't very productive. And I wasn't doing things that moved the ministry forward. I'm confessing to you, I failed you in those moments. I'm confessing to you that my flesh overwhelmed me, and I sat there and I stared at the wall and I cried my eyes out, or I yelled, or I kicked and I screamed, or I did all the things that we all have to do. And I understand that if it was you, you would still wake up and you'd have to go to work. And so it's unfair that I would be sitting behind the computer and I'd start zoning off instead of building the website. It's unfair to you who are basically, in a way, my employers. It's unfair to you. I don't know how to right my wrong with you. I do not know how to ever give back to you the times that you have lost, that I have spent in depression. I can never give it back to you. I can never catch up, and I feel I need to. And the pressure that I put on myself to catch up and to give you back what you've already sown into this ministry, that causes me an unbelievable greater depth of depression. Not to guilt you. You're not doing anything wrong. You're supporting me. It's just my own natural guilt. And I know it's of the enemy, but it's also not of the enemy, right? It's also an encouragement to me to keep my chin up. It's also an encouragement to me to keep making videos, to keep producing things. I'm not Joel Osteen, guys. I'm not speaking bad about the guy. I'm not speaking good about him. I'm just saying I don't have a mansion. I don't have a wife and kids. I don't have a family. I don't have Oprah Winfrey and everybody getting me on their networks. I don't have like all the things that you might think I have just because you see the numbers here on this ministry and because you see the level of content and the how much content is here. This is the weirdest ministry I've ever heard of in my life. This is a one-man led show with an environment to welcome everybody to have ministry here. It is the weirdest ministry I've ever heard of in my life. I have no template to follow. I have no mentor to follow. I have no friends to bounce ideas off of. And some of you say, well, you can bounce ideas off of me. I can't. And that's no offense to you. I can't bounce ideas off of Alex. I can't bounce ideas off of anybody. And you're thinking, well, why not? I'm not trying to sound egotistical, but whenever I try to do things based on logic or thinking or planning it out, it goes really bad. And I just have to surrender to God. I have to be still and wait for him to tell me what to do. And I do believe he's told me to make YeshuaNetwork.com. I do believe he's told me, let's open up for the podcast. But that doesn't mean that he's building the website for me. It doesn't mean that he's somehow supernaturally Matrix Neo jabbed in the head, downloading Kung Fu into my brain. Right? I'm not just all of a sudden waking up one day and I have the ability and all know-how on how to build a website. So I'm explaining to you that I walk in this really weird middle of the road that I know frustrates many of you. Well, do you hear from God or not? Is God blessing your ministry or is he not? Is God blessing your life or is he not? You love God, you hear from God, it's clear as day, but at the same time, you're constantly getting your butt kicked and you're constantly on the verge of like bad things or on the verge of like just homelessness and all sorts of bad things. Like what's going on with you? I don't know. I have no idea. And I know that some of you have ideas. I know that some of you have a plan in your head for my life. I know that some of you have a plan on how all this can be done better than the way I'm doing it. I know that some of you are like, hey, I have a friend who makes websites. I know that some of you have a plan and say, hey, I know of a job that you could do and still do the ministry. I know that you guys have ideas and plans for my life. And I was open to many of them for many seasons. I was open to ideas and plans that Alex had. I was open to ideas and plans that Brian, who was once with us, had. And every time I heard their plans and then I went to God with them, it went really bad. God was like, how dare you even bring this to me? And I'm not trying to pick on anybody. It's just the way that for some reason my life is. And you've heard me talk in the past about be careful that you ask God to talk to you. Because a lot of us think that when God talks to us, it's just like all roses and it's all like, here's winning lottery numbers and here's this and that. But in all reality, when God talks to you, he's like, I want you to go lay under a bridge and I want you to eat a poop cookie for a whole year. And when you're done doing that, you're going to roll over for 40 days. You're going to continue to eat more poop cookies. If you don't know, that's a story in the Bible. Or you're going to be Jonah and you're going to go tell these people to repent that you hate with all your soul and they're going to repent and they're going to be blessed by me. And you know what I mean? Like when you really, really, really ask God to speak to you and God really, really, really speaks to you his truth, it's not usually in your benefit. It's not like some type of, okay, well, here's a benefit onto you. I know we love the stories of David becoming king and all goes well. We love the story of Solomon becoming king and being the richest, most powerful, most wisest person in all the world ever. We love these stories. But in all reality, that's not what happens for most of us, man. It didn't happen to the apostles. The more they followed God, the more they got whipped, stoned, shipwrecked, beat up, thrown in prison, and eventually killed. Really bad killings too. Not just little, here's a pill, go to sleep pill like death. Like bad, murderous, horrific, painful, no wish not on your worst enemy deaths, right? So if part of the fact that I am so blessed in many of your eyes, right, because of the relationship you perceive I have with God, because you perceive the knowledge I have of the Bible, right? What if the way that God balances out is all this crap that happens to me all the time? Like, what if that's how this all gets balanced out? Maybe that's how God balances the universe, right? Oh, I'm gonna deal with this guy, Nathan. I'm gonna be with him. I'm gonna speak to him. I'm gonna give him hope. I'm gonna give him knowledge. I'm gonna give him a drive to wake up and do 6-hour Q&As, 4-hour Q&As. He won't even need to pee. God, I'm gonna be with him. I'm gonna speak out of his mouth. It's all gonna be for the glory. But as soon as he turns the camera off, he's got to go into the deepest, darkest hole, and he's got to fight every second of the day to keep his chin up. Maybe that's how it all gets balanced out. I don't know. But that seems to be the way it's going. And I know, like I said, I remember the days when I did the Fiery Fridays. I remember the days where I used to do the Testimony Tuesdays. And that was when my business was flourishing. That was when I was doing really good. And I was on the precipice of being able to literally build churches without anybody's money. I could build a television or a podcast empire that only I financed. It would never need a donation from any human on earth. It was that level. So you can understand why my joy was there, right? It was like when David became king. It was like when Solomon was being visited by kings and they brought him literally horse trailer loads full of gold just to say hello to him. Like, that was my season that I was about to enter into, but I never got to taste it. I never got to be in it. Why? Even though I was going to take all that and pour it into the ministry, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. And I know that my frustration and the anger of that spills onto you guys. And that's probably not what you want to tune into when you watch a ministry. In fact, I don't know how many people might be new believers or new people to the page watching this, and they're just like, man, this ministry is not fun. This poor guy, I don't want to watch this guy anymore. So once again, why am I making a video like this? I'm making a video like this because I feel like you own me. Because now I live by your donations. Because now I live, my roof over my head is by you. The gas in my automobile is by you. And I thought to myself, I need to get a corporate job. Some of you know that. I talked to you about it. I had some people help me put together a resume so I could get a corporate job. And I realized that, like, whether it's my depression or whether it's my age or whether it's my mind from the concussion or the pills I take, which is why I'm still trying to get off my pills slowly now so I don't have crazy withdrawal syndromes. The reason I'm trying so hard to get back is I want to be positive Nathan again. For me, I'll always be positive Nathan for the kingdom of God and for ministry. That's not hard for me because, like I said, this is the only moment of breath I get, right? The breath of life that I get is ministry. So I'm always going to be positive for this, but I need to be positive for me. And my fear is like, I've started doing some other odd end jobs just to make up some money so I don't have to come on here and ask for donations. You know, I have been picking up some odd end jobs where I'm working for some people and doing some things that's allowing me to pay some of my credit card debt down, and it doesn't seem to be helping. I don't know. Maybe I'm in a really bad place. Like, I feel like I'm not able to get my head above water. That's a God honest truth. That's where I'm at. And so maybe I need to get a corporate job. But here's the thing. If I get the corporate job, the depression I'm going to have about the fact that I'm going to be leaving a massive amount off the table of ministry, and the fact that some of you have sown into the ministry so much to keep me alive so that I can continue doing ministry, I feel like that's not fair to you. That's what I mean by, like, I feel like you own me. Like, I am a slave unto you who donate and help me, right? And like, so part of me wants to go get a job so I can own myself. But do you hear what I'm actually saying? Like, I hear what I'm saying. Can you hear it? I don't know what your mind is doing right now, but I'm sure that minds hearing this video are all over the place. I am sinning because I'm putting my choice of what I do on you because you're donating to me. This is my own inner battle. I am sinning when I think that I'm going to go be my own person when I get a corporate job. When in reality, no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm going, I am owned by God. So He is my master. He is my provider. He is my king. But I am drowning. As many of you are in credit debt, in all sorts of debt, I am drowning. And I feel like I can make my rent, but if I want to pay off all my bills, or if I want to keep my car or keep my insurance. It's just as much of a struggle as it is, I'm sure, for anybody else out there right now in the world, because finances in the world are crazy. There's war. It's all madness. We don't know if the dollar is going to be around anymore. I get the whole world. And that's the other thing. Like, that puts a triple guilt on me when I even think about that some of you are taking money out of your pockets to put into my life. And it drives me nuts. And I hate talking about this. I'm trying to show you that I acknowledge it. And that I'm not trying to piss away your donation into the kingdom. I'm not trying to be the bad steward of ministry that I have been for you. I don't feel that God is mad at me in ministry, but I know, because like I said, some people have been getting back to me saying that some of you are not happy with me and some of you are wondering what's going on with me. And I know that I have promised things throughout the years and I have not fulfilled them. And that has everything to do with the fact that I was a broken person. And it had nothing to do with God. It was me. I am the weak link. I am the one who failed you. And I will probably continue to fail you for probably a little bit longer. And it's unfair for me to ask you to continue to support me in my failure state. It is unfair. But I want to finish the job that the Lord has put in front of me to finish. And I feel like I always feel, but I feel like it's right around the corner. And if you will all continue to, for those of you who believe that I am still doing a good thing here at Yeshua Network and you enjoy it, is literally a blessing onto you to sow into this ministry, then I'm going to ask you to continue to do so. I'm going to continue to do whatever I can, whether it is continue to get side jobs or side work to make up for whatever I can't get through donations. I don't want to hustle the donation thing. I don't want to do, like, I really even didn't do a donation video. I put it at the end of another video this month, just because I felt so gross about asking for more donations just to live, because of people were donating onto the website stuff. And that's the thing, is like, I am so messed up, you guys. Like, I am telling you the truth. I am messed up. And in all my messed up state, right? In all my messed up state, I hope that the one thing you get is my testimony that I'm still praising God. I keep getting my butt kicked. I keep finding my face down in the mud. I keep finding myself drowning underwater. I keep finding myself not able to make really like ends meet and stuff like that. And I know some of you don't know why. And it's because I'm trying to catch up to an avalanche. Right? So if you're also asking that, like, where's everything going? I'm trying to catch up to an avalanche I built for myself during my 4 years of depression. Right? And so that's where it is. That's where a lot of my anxiety, that's where a lot of my work, that's where a lot of my drain. Why does my bucket have holes in it and I'm draining out and I'm not performing like I used to? It's because I'm underwater and I cannot get my head above it for the life of me. And I see no way that I'm going to get my head above it anytime soon. And if I maintain ministry, I'm for sure never going to get my head above it anytime soon. So this hopefully answers why things are broken here. This hopefully answers why things aren't on a normal schedule, why things aren't operating smoothly, why my energy and my consistency is all over the place. And I know some of you may be thinking, like, this is embarrassing to watch. I hate these kind of videos. I apologize, but I know some of you, you deserve to know. And I guess some of you didn't know that I was going through so much. I guess some of you didn't know that I had created such a hole for myself. So all I can be is transparent. And I feel I've been transparent, but I also don't want to burden you. Because every time I talk about these things, that's how I always feel. I always feel like I'm burdening you, or you're going to perceive it as some type of guilt or something like that. This is not a guilt video. This is a you deserve an answer, and I am confessing my sins. I am confessing my shortcomings. So if you receive this and you forgive me, you don't need to gossip. You don't need to talk trash about me behind the closed door. You can come to me now. You can write me. truthmefree832@gmail.com. You can please tell me what you have wrong with me so that I can address it and I can fix it. Maybe you'll bring to light something I can't see in myself, another thing I need to work on. Trust me, I know I got a lot. There's a lot more than you even know. So no matter what you see about me is broken, you're looking at maybe, the tip of the iceberg. You're looking at 10% of all the stuff that's broken about me. I feel like you deserve this video is what I'm trying to say. And I hope that it speaks to you. I hope that it gives clarity. I hope that you understand. I may not be efficient in my time and my speed with everything in the ministry. I may not be the greatest learner right now. I feel like an old dog trying to learn new tricks, learning all this new stuff about the website and the podcast. I also am working it in with life. I also am working it in with keeping my head up and not staring at the wall as much. Do I still stare at the wall days? I do. I had an entire last week was me staring at the wall, and that's not fair to you. I don't know what to do about it. And if that means, and now that you know like that, I have these moments where I'm just like locked in depression, and I don't know what to do with myself, and I don't know how to get out of it. And I basically, the way I get out of it is by jumping on and doing a video with you, doing EBRT. Last week I was so in a dark place I could not do EBRT. And I work on the website, and when I get something done and I post something, I paste something, and I figure out something, I watch a video and I learn, it makes me feel good. So this is how I'm starting to slowly pick myself up out of my dirt, but it's not fast enough for what you are sowing into. I am acknowledging that. It is not what you're sowing into. So I totally feel you. I totally recognize that you deserve more from me. And so I just want you to know, like, I get it, and I'm not mad at you. And I hope that you'll at least not be mad at me, for those of you who are mad at me, talking about whatever you're talking about behind the scenes. And this isn't a thing where like I respond to hate mail. This isn't a hate mail. These are brothers and sisters who know me. These are brothers and sisters who sow into this ministry through comments or participate. And so it's not a hate. It's not just a troll thing. I'm responding to brothers and sisters who have shown me love and supported me. This is for you. You deserve this response. You deserve this explanation. I hope that you receive it, and I apologize from the absolute depth of my soul. And I have absolutely no way of telling you when it will be fixed. I have no way of telling you when I'll be fixed, but I'm trying. I'm trying. That's why I'm doing more Q&As. That's why I'm trying to, you can't see 99% of the stuff that I'm doing. You can't see, and that's probably best, because I'm a mess. So be blessed, be the blessing, and if you want to know where the future is, before I go, I always say as my sign off. But before I go, to be very clear, because like I said, the best season of this ministry was Truth Me Free, when you knew what the videos were and what was coming. When I was doing the Fiery Fridays on a regular basis and Testimony Tuesdays on a regular basis, you knew what the ministry was, you knew it was coming, you knew what to expect. So you could wrap your heart around it, you knew what you were sowing into. I know right now it is a chaotic tornado of a mess. I acknowledge that. The future of this ministry is to do everything that we do on YouTube and on Yeshua Official here on Facebook, and do it on our .com for two major reasons. We won't be stifled. We won't be shut down. We won't have to filter what we say. That's the first reason, okay? The second reason is because it allows me, in the way that the website works, it allows me to welcome help. It allows me to appoint people to certain positions where they can help. And on the website, on Facebook, I have to give administration roles to people. And it's a dangerous thing that I learned from the hack. Facebook, I can't go to Facebook and be like, I own this page. I did that, and I got really lucky, because I literally knocked on the door of Facebook, the building where Mark Zuckerberg works. And I was like, this is my website with you guys. And somebody took it. And so I got it back. And I had friends supposedly that also worked at Facebook that put in a good work for me. So thank you guys for that as well. I want to acknowledge you. So the second part is that I can never really bring people onto the back office to really help me with this, because as soon as I do, it puts the entire thing in jeopardy. And some of you don't understand that, and that's okay, but that's how it works. But the website doesn't work that way. I can appoint people access to the website, and they can do things and not steal it. Do you understand? So this is where my heart is, and I believe it's of God. I believe that the website is super important. I believe that the website is going to take the ministry to a new level. I hope everybody on Facebook moves over to the website and uses it, I hope that it grows and I hope that it does a good thing. Is that a massive thing that I'm describing? Does it sound pie in the sky? Does it sound crazy for one guy to be able to put that all together again and again and again? It is. It's total pie in the sky. Do I believe I can do it? Nope. Do I believe I'm smart enough to do it? Nope. Do I believe that I have the talent and the wherewithal to do it? Nope. But do I trust that God will move my steps in his timing to do it? Yes. Is that me being foolish? Yep. And that's exactly what the Bible says. Your faith will look foolish. So I guess I have at least that. I have a very foolish faith. And you know what? I'm going to believe in this. I'm going to keep working towards it. I'm going to keep grinding towards it. And that's all I got. This is all I have in my life. You're my family. I'm very alone. So, if you think I'm cool with that, I'm not. But it is how it is. And I just have to keep going. So again, I'm still acknowledging that I am letting you down and you deserve better. But if you can have a grace on me for a little longer, I don't know how long that is. I don't know. But if you continue to have grace on me for a little longer, I will do my best to continue to grow, and I will continue to do my best to get out of my hole, and I will continue to do my best to provide you the ministry that the Lord will allow to be poured through me and in this place. Amen? So I hope to see you on EBRT tonight. And now that I've given that full explanation and hopefully a full understanding that gives you a peace of mind about where the future is and what I'm working towards and why we're going there, I hope that gives you peace, because I know that if you can't wrap your mind around what's going on with this Nathan guy, what's going on with this ministry, it's hard to believe in it. And I'm not trying to sell you the ministry. I'm just telling you what's on my heart. And you do with it, guys. You pray about it. And you do with it as you please. And please, I'm going to ask one thing too before I go. This is a silly request and it's counter to what maybe you think I'm asking for in this video. But I'm going to ask you, please, for the love of the gospel of God, do not give a donation to this ministry because of me. Don't give a donation onto this ministry because you feel sorry for me or because you feel like you need to because you feel guilty when you watch a video like this. I'm actually asking you, please do not do that. And the reason I am saying that is not to be stereotypical. It's because you're the person's most likely, I have found in the past and throughout my ministry doing this, you're the person who ends up saying bad things about me later. You're the person who ends up starting gossip behind the curtain about me later. You sow into it, and maybe you don't sow into it with the right heart. If you're going to sow into this ministry, give only that which God puts on your heart. And if God puts something on your heart, please believe that it's you, that you're getting your reward with God, and that there's not some expectation of level of reward to come through me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, clearly, over the last 4 years, I for sure have let you down. And clearly, I perceive in the not so distant future, I'm going to continue to let you down. So if you're doing a tit for tat type of, a donation or sowing into this ministry, expecting some level of result from me, I'm probably not the ministry for you. And I totally know that will only cause me total more heartache and headache in my finances. But it needs to be the case, because I cannot live with the regret I have of letting you down. So I can't. I don't deal well with it. It's why I don't ask for donations like most pastors, because I get all weird about it. More weird than I've ever been able to articulate. I get really weird. It gets me really in a dark place. So it's an issue for me. But it also works best if I ask for donations and humble myself. So I just want to speak directly to, forgive me for my mistakes, my letdowns, my shortcomings, and just know that I'll probably continue being a shortcoming guy for a little bit longer. Sorry. All right. I will see you tonight, though. Everything is planned. Everything is good for EBRT tonight. We're on schedule. It's a two passages or 2 chapters thing, so hopefully we'll be able to get through that too. All right. Long rant. Be blessed. Be the blessing.